reflected off the rock, which shone with rain. She was over halfway up now, and there was no goddamn way she was stopping. Cora tapped into her vampire powers again as another flash of lightning lit the sky. The thunder cracked before the after images had cleared from Cora's vision, and the ozone in the air made the hair on the backs of her arms stand on end. That strike had been close. Close enough that Cora could siphon the energy from the air around her, which she did. Vampires could naturally drain magic out of almost anything. It was a handy byproduct of the enchantment virus that altered their DNA and made them into vampires in the first place. Cora could take magical energy from anything, more or less, and turn it into whatever magical effects she wanted. Before she'd been turned, she'd only been able to perform telekinetic magic, but now the sky was the limit. The boost from the lightning helped her scramble up the last 10 feet of rock face in what felt like seconds. She scraped her knee on the plateau's edge as she pulled herself up and over, but she didn't feel it. The blood that welled up in the scuff marks washed away in the rain. She sat back, leaning on her hands and staring at the thunderclouds blanketing the mountain range. She was shivering, and now she could see how close the lightning strikes were. The thought crossed her mind that she was well and truly tempting fate here. If she stayed where she was, as close to the top of the mountain as she could get, lightning was liable to strike her. Climbing down, however, posed as many risks for falling and getting hurt as climbing up did, if not more. Oh well, what went up must go down. She'd made it up, but there was no point in staying up, so time to go. The tiny Cora voice whispered that once upon a time she'd have taken a moment to appreciate the majesty of the vista before her. Not many people could say they'd been at the top of a mountain in a thunderstorm, and the view was unarguably awesome in the truest sense. Cora looked. The thunderclouds loomed and rolled over the mountain peaks, hiding the rock and ice under a thick layer of dark, angry clouds. Rain lashed the rocks, making them shine like ice, or making them into ice as black ice froze on top. Lightning struck, thunder echoed, and Cora did not care. Numb from more than the cold, she reversed direction and slithered down the rock face. If she was going to die, so be it. Then someone else could send her mother and sister the letters that had languished in her suitcase for months, and they could properly mourn her. Cora wouldn't have to think about it anymore. She wouldn't have to think about any of it. She made it down the rock face unscathed and mildly surprised. That had been the hardest part of the hike. If any of it were going to kill her, that would have been it. But no such luck. Cora shoved her hands in her pockets and headed down the mountain. She wasn't in the mood to explore anymore. Not that she'd been in any mood to begin with. She only wanted to go home. Or to the Enclave, rather. She didn't have a home anymore. Cold and indifference made her careless. She knew it, too. She hopped from rock to rock after slipping more than once and barely catching herself. She forded streams that were running fast enough that they'd pull her under if she lost her footing. She jumped down from boulders that even a safe landing threatened to snap bones in her legs. But hey, if she had a death wish, that was her business and no one else's, right? In the end, she slipped on a patch of mud. In the grand scheme of things, in the list of risks she'd taken that weekend, it shouldn't have registered. Down she went, her heels sliding out from underneath her instead of landing solidly on hard, wet ground. Then she skidded down an uneven, rocky slope with trees sprouting every few feet. She'd been making good time, too, she reflected as she rolled down the mountainside. It had taken her almost 3 days to get to the mountain peak. At this rate, she'd make it back to the Enclave in hours. Her disconnected thoughts of travel time abruptly halted as her foot caught a root and jerked her in a different direction. She slammed into a tree trunk, gasped as the hit to the ribs drove the air from her lungs, and came to a sudden stop as she impacted a rock 3 times her size. Her arm hit first, having been thrown around by the spin, and she heard and felt the crack as one of the bones in her forearm snapped.